Hi, welcome to Richard Scale Modelling. This is part 6 of the Airfix Typhoon, scale 124. Part 5 I dealt with the scratch build of the rear wing and the undercarriage. So let's jump into this. Right, well the first part I'm dealing with is the main wing flap. So it's all pre-painted, and it's just a simple case of putting the glue in the points and bonding them together. So right, the first part I'm going to be dealing with is the flaps for the main wing. So bonding them together, then just putting the base coat on them before attaching. And once the base coats are on, again it's painting in a bit of the camouflage. Just mark it up to the main wing to see where you're going to put your camouflage, and once it's all dry it's time to attach it to the wing. So just some small bits of glue onto the contact points and slot it in. Once you're happy with the position, now's a good time to touch up any camouflage areas that need to be done. Then moving on to the other part of the air flaps, and just painting the inside, the interior colour before attaching them. So while that's drying, I'm moving on to the side wall of the cockpit, painting it again in the base colours. So while I'm waiting for things to dry, I just jumped on to a part of the cockpit and the canopy. This is the sight side, I believe. So there was just a little bit of canopy glue going into the central area. That is going in to dot a clear part. I find it easier just to dot that in, and once it dries it becomes clear. So on the side panel, once a little bit detailing work has been done, that's just putting in some wiring and panel lines and so forth. And now the flaps are dried, it's time to mark them up for the invasion stripes to be painted on. And of course it goes without saying I'm using the same technique as I did with all the invasion stripes. These are the last of the invasion stripes to be painted. Now once things are dry, it's time to put in the flaps. So there's a little bit of glue on the contact points again. These ones are going to be in the open position, just so that you can see inside the airframe. So they just slot in on the little hooks. And it's time now to build up the cockpit again. So the side panel is going in now. So I left it dry overnight, and I did have some gapping issues, as you can see there. So I had to put a little bit of plastic card in because the gap was quite big, and then fill it up, sand it down, and once that's all sorted, it's time to paint it. So I'm just painting over again the base colours. So once it's dry you can see it all blended in. So I'm moving on to the canopy now. Now the canopy is also going to be cut down the middle, because of the state I'm showing it in. So I put a piece of tape down the centre of the canopy, and I'm simply going to take a piece of plasticine, put a little bit of tissue inside it, so because you don't want the oil of the plasticine going onto the canopy, but you want something solid within it. So plasticine is ideal because it'll conform to the shape of the canopy. So once that's done, and you're happy that it's not going to bend or twist, just take your knife and carefully draw it down along your tape line. It only takes a couple of passes for it to split apart, but you have to be very careful. So that's it done, it's split apart now. Again, will be quite easily. And I'm doing the same with the front section of the canopy. Takes a little bit longer to do the front part, one because it's a small part and it tends to be a thicker part, a bit of plastic because it's so small. So once you're happy with the position of your tape, just gently take your knife and draw it down. Do it as gently as possible. You don't want to scratch the size you're going to be using. So once each piece has been cut, it's time to paint the edges with the fuselage colour. You can still use tape to mask off, or you can do it freehand like I am. Next process is the props and the nose cone. So the props also have yellow tape, so I'm painting the whole blade yellow, or much of the blade yellow on the sprue, just to get an even finish before I put the black on. I'm waiting for the yellow to dry, go onto the nose cone, and I'm using Rebel 09 for this. Now that's a sort of dustier black, but it gives off a lovely finish, a sort of metallic-y look, flatten finish, which I love using for aircraft. The instructions call for a gloss finish, a gloss black, but I think this one serves the purpose a lot better. And I'm using the same colour for the other, the bottom casing of the cone. The other mechanical parts of the prop are going to be painted in aluminium and then slightly weathered down. I will say about this kit, you do have different options, so they give you different nose cones for those options, which is really good. Onto the weapon system that goes under goes on the undercarriage now. So these are just the brackets that hold the weapons, the bombs and so forth. So I'm just building these up, and then they'll be painted in the Revel number 43 colour. Switching back to the props, and I'm putting on a gloss black now for the actual blade of the prop, not the duller black, just to give it contrast. And I think they look really well balanced together with the dull black and the shining black. Now I've placed a little bit of masking tape at the tip of the blade, a 6mm masking tape, and this will give me my yellow tip at the start each blade, and it'll be even because I'm putting in the same position on each blade. Switching back to the weapons, I'm painting these bombs in Revel's olive grey number 66. It's time to attach the bombs to the brackets, and there's a little groove in the bracket, and little spikes that you just put a bit of cement in, and they slot in very nicely. And back to the props. It's time to assemble the props now. There's little brackets that go in here that slot into the actual nose cone itself. It's a very good system. Once the brackets are made up, these two parts here close up to receive the blade. Now the instructions tell you to put it in before you close them up, but it's a bit fiddly and tricky. If you close them up, they do just push right in. It's far better doing it that way than following the instructions. So it's all closed up and the blade just pushes in. And once all four blades are in, put the backing plate on. Again, there's a location point so you know exactly where it's got to go, and all that's left on them is to fit the nose cone, which again just slots right in. It's time to put in the weapon system now. These are going to go into the little holes that are made at the very beginning of the build on the wings. So just a tiny bit of glue, and they just little pins slot into the holes. And that's all four weapons in now. I had to slightly enlarge a couple of the holes. Also, I didn't use the right size drill bit. Well, if you remember, I said I'd use a smaller one and open up the holes a little bit, and that's what I did. Now it's time to put on the prop. I didn't use any glue to put on this because I wanted the prop to move. So I just push it on, and there we go. It's time to put on the canopy, and I'm using the canopy glue, just a bead of glue around the edges, and that is strong enough now to hold it in place without giving any toxic vapours and distorting the canopy. And the same again for the front canopy. Well, that's everything on, so all that's left now is to put a coat of varnish on. This is Pledge Clear Floor Varnish. Make sure you put it on all around the prop as well. The last thing you want is the prop to be damaged and chipped, bent if you're going for a new look. Wait for the varnish to be completely dry before you put your decals on. So this is the under part of the wing, and next is for the tail and the upper wing. So I put the side decals on. He also didn't say them because there's no point, because I would have the angle towards me. So that's all the decals were just drying up. So now everything's thoroughly dried, it's time to weather. So I'm using the soot colour pigment here and placing it on the wings from front to the back. On my sharpener, just putting on, flicking it on, a little bit of pressure to start with and light pressure to flick it off. So it's on flick. That way it gives the impression of the dust particles hitting the wing and slowly bouncing off the wing. And for the final stage, all that's left to do is put on some varnish. I'm using Winsor & Newton matte varnish, and just lay it all over the entire model. So this brings the build to an end. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this six-part video. I know it's a lot to take in, so thanks for sticking with it. At the end of this, there'll be a small slideshow showing you the entire model. Feel free to leave any comments you wish, good or bad, I don't mind. And why don't you check out the other videos that I've done. But for now, thank you all very much. Bye bye.